Hare Krishna to all the devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for joining us today. Until last week, we learned about the glory of the Guruvayur Sri Krishna temple in Kerala and all of the Lord's pastimes there and the devotees. Today, we will be learning about yet another very great temple in Kerala, the Sri Ananta Padmanabha Swami temple, uh, situated in the capital city of Kerala, that is Thiruvananthapuram. I hope you all enjoy this journey.
We have so far.
Yes, Prabhuji. Just a minute, I'll share my screen in a moment. Okay, here we are. Yes, I'll share my screen. So welcome all the devotees. Hare Krishna. I'll begin with a prayer from the Vishnu Sahasranama. Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gagana Sadrisham Meghavarnam Shubhangam Lakshmikantam Kamalanayanam Yogihridyanagamyam Vande Vishnu Bhavabhayaharam Sarvalokaikanaatham Sarvalokaikanaatham. Salutations to Sri Mahavishnu, the Supreme Lord of the universe, who is ever peaceful, lying upon the serpent Ananta, from whose navel springs the lotus of creative power, who is the master of the gods and other celestial beings, the foundation of the universe, who is all pervading and limitless as the sky, who is mesmerizingly beautiful, colored like the dark rain bearing clouds, the lotus eyed Lord of Lakshmi, who dwells in the hearts of yogis, perceived by deep meditation, and who dispels all fear and sorrows of the material world. Hare Krishna again. So the Ananta Padmanabha Swami temple is located at the heart of Thiruvananthapuram city in Kerala. The city itself takes its name after the presiding deity, Sri Ananta Padmanabha Swami. Now, by most calculations, the beginning year of Kali Yuga is said to be approximately 3102 BCE. And this is a general conclusion on the basis of many astrological and astronomical calculations derived from the scriptures as well as various historical texts, such as the Aryabhatiya, which has been written by the mathematician Aryabhatta. So this temple is said to have been established on the first day of Kali Yuga, making it nearly 5,000 plus years old. This temple is revered as one of the 108 Divya Deshams, or the divine abodes of Sri Mahavishnu, according to an ancient text called the Nalayira Divya Prabandham, which is a collection of 4,000 verses in praise of the Supreme Lord Sriman Narayana in his many forms. And this is in the Tamil language. These Divya Deshams are the most respected places of worship for followers of the Sri Vaishnava tradition. Now, um, there are many, many historical and scriptural references to this temple. The first one I would like to quote today is from the Varaha Puranam. Syananduram iti khyatam bhumer guhyam padam mama uttare tu samudrasya malayasya tu dakshine. The Lord says in the Varaha Purana, I reside in the land which lies south of the Malaya mountain and north of the ocean, famous by the name of Syanandura Pura. That is the ancient name for the city of Tiruvanantapura. The second reference I would like to quote is from a text called the Ananta Shayana Mahatmya, which states, Ananta Shayano Ananta Padmanabho Nrikesari Kshetrasmin Bhati Deveshah Tvad Abhishtam Pradasyati. The Supreme Lord Mahavishnu manifested himself at this temple as Padmanabha, lying on the serpent Ananta, and also as Narasimha. And here he confers blessings on all devotees and fulfills all one's prayers. The next reference is a somewhat indirect but very, uh, what do I say, the strongest reference that we can have from the Srimad Bhagavatam itself. This is from the 10th canto, chapter 79, verse number 18. Tata Falgunam Asadya Panchapsarasam Uttamam Vishnu Sannihito Yatra Snatva Sparshat Gavayutam. So in this verse, it is said that Lord Balarama went to a place called Falguna Tirtha and then bathed in the Panchapsaras lake where Sri Mahavishnu had manifested himself. And here, Lord Balarama gave away 10,000 cows in charity. So, this Panchapsaras lake that is referred to in this verse is at present known as Padma Tirtham, on the banks of which the Ananta Padmanabha Swami temple stands. The Brahma Purana also refers to this blessed land as Syanandura Pura and the Lord as Syanandura Purusha. This temple is also mentioned in the Padma Purana, the Skanda Purana, and the Matsya Purana. And there is also mention of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu having visited this great temple in about the year 1510 CE. And this is mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita of Sri Krishnadasa Kaviraj. And okay, so now let's talk about the presiding deity himself. So this photograph is an artist's representation of the presiding deity at this temple. The deity is Sri Mahavishnu, lying on the coiled body of the great serpent Ananta or Adisesha in a state of yoga nidra or conscious yogic sleep. The deity is 18 feet long and can be viewed through 3 doors. So you cannot view the deity all at once. You have to view him through 3 doors. So through the first door, we can see the hoods, the 5 hoods of Adisesha, the Lord's beautiful face, and his right hand stretched downwards over a Shiva Linga in a gesture of respect. Through the second door, we can see Lord Brahma seated upon a lotus springing from the Lord's navel. And that is why the Lord is called Padmanabha. Nabhi meaning navel in Sanskrit. Through the second door, we can also see 3 gold Abhisheka murtis or murtis specifically used for daily Abhisheka of the Lord. So these murtis are those of Sri Padmanabha Swami, Sri Devi or Devi Lakshmi, and Bhu Devi or Mother Earth, as also a smaller festive deity or Utsava Murti of Sri Padmanabha Swami in silver. The Lord's lotus feet are visible through the last door. Now, what is so unique about the deity at the Padmanabha Swami temple? So, the deity of Sri Padmanabha Swami is made of a very rare mixture of Ayurvedic herbs called Katu Shakkara Yogam, in which 12,008 salagramas brought from the banks of the holy river Gandaki in Nepal have been blended in. Now, a salagrama or a saligrama is not an ordinary stone, but a stone infused with the full spiritual potency of Sri Mahavishnu. It is said that worship of 12 salagramas equals the power of a Mahakshetram or a great temple. So the sanctity of the Ananta Padmanabha Swami temple, going by the statement, is therefore 1,000 times more. Because the material, the coating on the deity, the coating of Ayurvedic herbs on the deity is very delicate. No abhishekam is offered to the main deity, but prokshanam, uh, which is a Sanskrit word for symbolic bathing by means of chanting mantras, is done for the main deity instead. Uh, but regular abhishekam is offered to the 3 smaller abhisheka deities, as also the small silver deity of Sri Padmanabha Swami. Uh, Even the flowers that are offered to the Lord, to the main deity, are brushed off not with one's hand but using a peacock feather. So that's how delicate uh, the herbal coating on the deity is. Now, what are the origins of this great temple? Now, the origins of the Padmanabha Swami temple at Tiruvananthapuram, they lie at yet another Padmanabha Swami temple in the Kasargod district of Kerala. Uh, this is on the Kerala Karnataka border in a place called Anantapura. And this temple is situated in the middle of a lake, as you can see. So now, there once lived a very great devotee at this place of Sri Mahavishnu by the name of Divakara Muni. Now, during his daily worship of Sri Krishna, the Lord used to regularly visit him in the form of a child. And on one occasion, Divakara Muni, he lost his temper due to the child's mischievous pranks, and not knowing the true nature of the child, he very irreverently, he pushed the child with the back of his hand. Now, such a gesture is considered to be very disrespectful. Pushing someone away with the back of your hand is not good at all. So, at this disrespectful gesture, the Lord transformed into a divine aura and he disappeared into the cave. And at the same time, Divakara Muni, he heard a voice. And what did the voice say? If you want to see me now, you must come to Anantan Kadu. Now, Kadu is a word in Malayalam or Tamil for forest. So, Anantan Kadu would literally mean the forest of Ananta, the serpent. So the Lord said, I am not going to come here anymore. If you want to see me, you must come to Anantan Kadu. And now only then did Divakara Muni realize who the child was. And when he realized what he had done, he did not know what to do. Oh my God, what have I done? I disrespected the Lord, and now I must go and find him. I cannot rest until I have seen the Lord again. And so he followed what he believed was the route taken by the Lord, and he gave up everything. He gave up food, water, sleep, rest, everything. And he had taken a vow that I am not going to rest until I see the Lord again. And he went through the cave through which he had seen the Lord disappear. He went on and on and on until he reached a heavily forested area near the seashore. And here he heard a local tribal woman shouting at her child to stop crying. And she threatened the child, saying that if the child did not stop crying, she would throw him or she would abandon him in the Anantan Kadu. So when Divakara Muni, he heard the lady mentioning the name of that very forest that he was in search of, he was delighted. He thought, "Oh, at last I have reached. I've reached my destination. I'm close to finding the Lord." So he asked the lady for directions and he accepted a single lighted lamp wick from her so that it would light up his path because it was very dark. It was a thick forest. And then he continued on his search. And finally, at last, just before dawn, so just before the sun was about to rise, he heard the tinkling of waist bells and anklets. So he thought, oh, this is the same tinkling of the bells that I used to hear when the Lord used to visit me as a child. So the Lord has to be somewhere nearby. And just as he was thinking, he was recollecting those memories. There was this huge tree. Now, in Hindi, I think it is called Mahua. In Malayalam or Tamil, it is called Iluppa. So that huge tree that was standing right in front of Divakara Muni, it crashed down in front of him. And in place of that huge tree that had crashed down, a divine radiance manifested. And then Divakara Muni saw the gigantic form of the Lord lying on the serpent bed. Now, the form was so very huge that the head of the Lord lay at a place called Tiruvallam, which is currently about 3 to 4 miles away from the Padmanabha Swami temple. And the Lord's feet were lying at a place which is today called Trippapur in Kerala. And that place is about another 4 to 5 miles away in the opposite direction. So that's how huge the form of the Lord was. And Divakara Muni, he wasn't able to see uh, the Lord's beautiful form in its entirety. And so he prayed to the Lord to that he was not able to see the Lord's radiant form. The Lord then shrank himself to a size about 3 times the length of the holy staff or the rod or the stick that Divakara Muni used to carry with him. Uh, Even then, the vision of the Lord was obscured by a number of trees that were standing. Now, a forest, it was a thick forest after all, and it was not empty, it was full of trees. And still, even after the Lord had reduced the size of his form, Divakara Muni could only see the Lord through the gaps in those trees. Uh, this may partly be the reason why uh, we are able to see the Lord even today only through three doors and not all at once. Uh, Even today, there is a Nagaraja temple or a temple for the serpent king Ananta, which exists to the northwest of the main temple. So now, Divakara Muni finally he had had a beautiful darshan of the Lord, but he did not have anything to offer the Lord at that time. And then he looked around, not knowing what to do, and then he saw a mango tree. So he plucked some raw mangoes from that tree, and he found an empty coconut shell lying around. And he took that coconut shell, he put the raw mangoes in the shell, and he humbly offered that those mangoes to the Lord. In remembrance of that episode, even today, at this temple, salted mango is a very important offering. Uh, it is said that the coconut shell used by Divakara Muni still exists. It is preserved very carefully in a gold covering. It is believed that the wood of the tree that fell down was used to shape or carve the original deity of Padmanabha Swami. Uh, this wooden deity was replaced in the year 1739 by the one we see today. This was mainly because, sadly, uh, the deity also sustained some damages in the Great Fire of 1686, which destroyed most parts of the temple. But thankfully, the rulers of the kingdom who came after that incident, they took all care to restore the temple to its former glory. Now, Kasargod, where the original lake temple is, where is it is today a part of Kerala, but at one point, before the different states were marked out in independent India, uh, Kasargod was once part of a region called Tulu Nadu, uh, or the Tulu region, the region where the people speak uh, a local language called Tulu. And that region at present, it includes southern Karnataka, Udupi, and this district of Kasargod. So now there are some accounts where it is said, where this entire uh, uh, legend behind the origin of the Padmanabha Swami temple. It's narrated with reference to a saint called Vilvamangalam Swamiyar the First. If the devotees may recall, I mentioned um, Vilvamangala Swamiyar the First in connection with while talking about Guruvayur. Uh, but looking at the current situation in the temple, so now at the temple there are priests uh, who come to offer worship. They come from the Tulu speaking region, and the chief Swamiyar of, or the chief, the religious head of this monastery in Kerala called Naduvil Madham. They both have a very important place in the daily worship rituals of the Padmanabha Swami temple. So there is a possibility that though the versions may vary at times, it is possible that the Divakara Muni that I spoke about and Vilvamangalam Swami are the first may have been the same person. But regardless, it is very true that the Lord did indeed manifest himself in this beautiful Ananta Shayana form at this temple. So the samadhi of this Swamiyar or Divakara Muni exists to the southwest of the temple, and at that location there is also a temple for Sri Krishna. Now there are also other deities in the temple apart from the main deity. Now an interesting thing to note is centuries ago, several families of the Vrishni dynasty. So the Vrishni uh, dynasty was the one in which Lord Sri Krishna appeared. Several families of this dynasty, they traveled southwards, and they presented a very beautiful deity of Sri Krishna holding a horse whip and a conch or a shankha to the then ruling king of uh, the kingdom of Tiruvananthapuram, called Maharaja Udaya Martanda Varma. The king then had that deity of Sri Krishna installed in a separate temple called Tiruvambadi in the Padmanabha Swami temple premises. Now, Ambadi is the Malayalam word for Gokul. So, because the deity of Sri Krishna was brought by descendants from the Vrishni dynasty, and because they came all the way from Rajabhumi, uh, that shrine for Sri Krishna in the temple premises is called Tiruvambadi. On Ekadashi days, this deity of Sri Krishna is beautifully dressed as Mohini, the form that Mahavishnu assumed to rescue the pot of nectar or the pot of Amrit from the demons and present them to the Devas. There are also shrines in the temple for Sri Narasimha, Sri Rama, accompanied by Devi Sita, Lakshmana, and Hanuman, Sri Vedavyasa, Lord Sri Ganesha, Sri Vishwaksena, who is one of the gatekeepers of Vaikuntha, Sri Shasta, who is a deity worshipped primarily in the south of India, born out of the combined powers of Lord Shiva and Lord Sri Mahavishnu, Garuda, and also the temple guardian called Kshetrapala. Now, festivals are an integral part of Indian culture, and even more so at great temples such as these. So, festivals such as Sri Krishna Janmashtami, Sri Rama Navami, all the Ekadashis, especially Vaikuntha Ekadashi, Ganesh Chaturthi, Mahashivaratri, Navaratri, Tiruvonam or Onam as it is more commonly known, the harvest festival of Kerala, Vishu or the New Year day in Kerala from the astronomical perspective, Sri Vedavyasa Jayanti or Guru Purnima are all celebrated on a very grand scale. There are also two temple festivals which are celebrated. One is called the Aipasi Utsavam, which is celebrated in mid October to mid November, and the other is called the Panguni Utsavam, which is celebrated in mid March to mid April. A very unique festival that is celebrated at this temple is Mura Japam. Now, it means chanting in turns or turn by turn. So, it consists of chanting hymns from the Rig Veda, the Yajur Veda, and the Sama Veda in 7 sessions, and each session lasts 8 days. So, 7 8s are 56. So, this festival lasts for 56 days, and 24 Vedic scholars are assigned to each such session. In addition, the various hymns called suktas from the Rig Veda, such as Sri Suktam, Purusha Suktam, Narayana Suktam, Medha Suktam, and so on, are also chanted by 60 Vedic scholars in 2 batches. The Sri Vishnu Sahasranamam is also chanted by about 75 Vedic scholars. Now, this 56-day festival of Murajapam, it concludes with a very grand festival of lights called Laksha Deepam, where the temple glows. It comes alive in the light of 100,000 oil lamps. Now, to talk about the Travancore royal family's relationship with this temple, how deep it runs. Now, Travancore is an old name for the princely state of Tiruvananthapuram as it is known today. Uh, it's an anglicized name, to be honest. The traditional name is Tiruvananthapuram. So the royal family of this kingdom, they trace their origins back to about the early 8th century, uh, and they ruled this princely state of Travancore until about the year 1949 when they ceded power to the Republic of India. So we know when India became a republic, the princely states, as they existed before independence, they did not continue to exist anymore. The deity of Sri Padmanabha Swami, as we see today, was installed as I said earlier, in the year 1739 under the rule of the then king called Maharaja Aniram Tirunal Veera Bala Martanda Varma. That is his full title. On what this king did in the year 1750 was he surrendered himself along with his family and the entire kingdom that he ruled, the entire kingdom of Travancore, he surrendered it all completely to the Lord uh, by placing all the important signs of royalty, such as the crown, the umbrella, the royal fans, and the sword that he used on this platform in front of the Lord, along with some tulsi leaves as a symbolic offering. And he then accepted the sword back from the priest, taking it to be the Lord's prasadam or the Lord's blessing. This ritual was called Trippadi Danam, meaning complete surrender at the feet of the Lord. So, since then, every male ruler has been referred to as Sri Padmanabha Dasa, and every female ruler has been referred to as Sri Padmanabha Sevini. Now, this king, he declared that any further acquisitions that the rulers of the kingdom would make should be given over to the Lord completely, and that no deviation must be made in connection with any institutions or charities that were connected to the temple. This complete spirit of surrender has been and is being adhered to very strictly by his descendants. So, till this date, members of the royal family they continue to serve the Lord in this spirit of complete surrender. Now, the platform on which the deity rests, so the Garbhagriha or the Sanctum Sanctorum of the Lord, it stands on this huge platform called Ottakkal Mandapam, meaning Mandapam means platform, and Ottakkal means single stone or single rock. So that platform was carved out of a single large granite stone, and so the temple is constructed in such a way that you have to climb up onto this platform. Of course, there is a distance between the devotees and the sanctum sanctorum, but uh, you have to climb up on top of that platform to so that you can view the deity and offer your prayers. This platform was also constructed under the initiative of that king, Martanda Varma. Uh, Martanda Varma was also responsible for most of the important temple renovations and welfare schemes. And so great was his devotion and dedication to the Lord that his last words were Sri Padmanabha Swami. He left the physical world with the Lord's name on his lips. Uh, we'll now briefly talk about uh, yet another great king of this kingdom called Maharaja Swati Tirunal Ramavarma. He ruled the kingdom of Travancore from 1829 to 1846. He was a brilliant music composer, an unparalleled genius with over 360 plus compositions. in Sanskrit, Malayalam, Telugu, and Hindi, in both the Carnatic and Hindustani styles of Indian classical music. He was a very hardworking ruler, committed completely to the welfare of his people, and a very dedicated patron who encouraged arts, including music, dance, painting, sculpture, and architecture. Most of his compositions include the name Padmanabha in some form or the other. So there are so many different words in Sanskrit or even our other Indian languages for the lotus flower. So some call it as Padma, some call it as Pankaja, or some call it as Saroja. So Swati Tirunal, he made it a point to include the Lord's name in some form or the other in his compositions. Some of his most beautiful compositions include a very beautiful song called Bhavayami Raghuramam. It is a very detailed, very intricate composition which describes the major events of the Ramayana, right up to the coronation of Lord Sri Rama as the king. Uh, Another one is Kamala Jasya, a beautiful description of the Dashawataras or the 10 incarnations of Sri Mahavishnu. Uh, Yet another composition is called Gopalaka Pahimam Anisham, which is a prayer to Sri Padmanabha Swami for his protection and grace. Uh, Prabhuji, if I may, I would like to just uh, sing a couple of lines.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Yes, please.
these compositions. Of course, I do not know the entire song. It'll take me ages to master them. They are that detailed and masterpieces, literally. But just to give the devotees an idea of
Hint. Yeah.
how beautiful those compositions are.
Yes, please.
So, Bhavayami Raghuramam, I'll just sing one line. Uh, Bhavayami Raghuramam भव्यसुगुणारामं भावयामि रघुरामम्. And Kamala Jasya, which is a description of the Dashavataras. I only know the first verse, to be honest. I'll sing that. कमलजास्य हृदय निगमराशि हयग्रीव गमन मीन शरीर मावोद्धार कमल जास्य हृदय. So the first verse of this song called Kamala Jasya describes how the Lord assumed the form of a giant fish to rescue the Vedas that had been stolen from Lord Brahma by the demon Hayagriva. This king, Swati Tirunal, though he lived only for a very short time of 33 years, his rich legacy continues to live on through his music. The Swati Sangeetotsavam, it is a 10-day music festival exclusively featuring his compositions and is conducted every year in the month of January at this palace called the Kudira Malika. This palace was built by this king and it's near the Padmanabha Swami temple. Another temple that I feel must be mentioned in connection with the Padmanabha Swami temple.
Very nice singing, by the way. Beautiful. Thank you.
This temple has a very close relationship with the Padmanabha Swami temple. It is called the Aadhikeshava Perumar temple in a place called Tiruvattar in the Kanyakumari district of Tamil Nadu. This is also one of the 108 Divya Deshams that I mentioned earlier. The presiding deity here is again Sri Mahavishnu. locally known as Aadhikeshava Perumar. He lies in a direction facing the deity of Padmanabha Swami. So they are facing, they lie in opposite directions, but they are such that they are facing, it appears as if they must be facing each other. Of course, the temples are far apart. Similar to Padmanabha Swami, this deity can also be viewed only through three doors. Um, this deity very beautiful and 22 feet long, so even longer than the deity at the Padmanabha Swami temple. There the deity is 18 feet long, and here the deity is about 22 feet in length. And here the deity is made of about 16,008 salagramas, again combined using a rare mixture of Ayurvedic herbs, similar to the deity of Padmanabha Swami. An interesting fact, a fact which might be very interesting to many of to the Krishna devotees who have joined us today, would be that according to the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, so in the Madhya Leela section, chapter 9, verses 234 to 241, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discovered the fifth chapter of the Brahma Samhita at this temple.
Very good. Very good.
These verses, so Krishnadasa Kaviraj, he says in these verses that Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was ecstatic when he saw the temple of Aadhikeshava Perumar. He offered prayers, he chanted and danced with joy when he saw the Lord. And while he was there at the temple, he found the missing chapter of the Brahma Samhita, the fifth chapter, which was missing earlier. He then copied down that chapter, and from there he proceeded towards the Sri Ananta Padmanabha Swami temple. So the photograph in the bottom right corner is the main entrance to this temple, and the one on the bottom left is the Tiruvattar river, where Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is believed to have taken a ceremonial bath before offering prayers to the Lord at this temple. And lastly, I would like to share some photographs from the lake temple, the Anantapura lake temple at Kasargod, which we learned is the Mula Sthanam, or the origin of the temple in Kerala. So the one on the top left is the main temple, of course, standing in the middle of the Anantapura lake. On the top right corner are the deities at temples. So in the center is Padmanabha Swami. On both sides are Sri Devi or Devi Lakshmi and Bhudevi or the Mother Earth, as also Lord Hanuman and Garuda. And in the bottom right is a very beautiful deity of Krishna. This deity is called Goshale Krishna or Goshala Krishna. This deity is believed to be the very same deity that Divakara Muni or Vilvamangalam Swami are the first, whom we spoke about in connection with the legend that connects these temples. It is believed that this is the very same deity that he used to worship daily. And we learned earlier that when the sage, when Divakara Muni, he behaved disrespectfully towards the Lord, who was in the form of a child. The Lord disappeared through a cave, and finally he gave darshan to the sage at the forest of Ananta. So this cave or tunnel exists to I think the southwest. I'm not sure about the exact direction, but this exists at one of the corners of this lake in which this temple in in Kasargod stands, and this is believed to be the cave that used to connect uh, the temples at Kasargod and on one side, and the temple at Tiruvananthapuram at the other end. Of course, no one takes this cave route anymore. But back then, this is believed to be that spot or that place through which the Lord disappeared. So that's all I had in connection with these temples. I hope the devotees have enjoyed this journey to these great temples. I hope to bring more such temples to you all in future.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, it felt like we were there, and we were there about 20 odd years back, maybe more. But it was very, very nice. Thank you so much. Now, I know Karuna Banda, she was there about 3 years ago. Anything you'd like to share, Karuna?
No, Prabhu, I didn't go in Kerala, but I had
Oh,
I went to Sri Rangam, so there is the
ah,
Padmanabha
that's
there
different.
also.
Beautiful.
Okay.
In Mahabalipuram also there was another temple with same deity.
Okay. No problem. Very good.
Thank you, Shruti Mataji. Very nice pastime. Thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
beautiful, beautiful.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Hare
So,
Krishna. Thank you, Swati. It's really nice.
Thank you so much.
Oh, that's nice. That's I have one question. I'm not sure, but where about I don't know, but there's a one Vishnu like a lie down. It's a gold one, but there's somebody trying to steal it, but it doesn't. They can't take it. It's stuck. I don't know where is it. It's a hole in a gold.
Oh, I'm not too sure.
doesn't ring any bells.
There's a whole Vishnu Bhagwan lie down in Sayana with a whole gold statue Sayana. There's somebody's tried to steal it. It's in underground. You need to go by stairs. It's very dark.
Oh, I'm not sure. Have you been there?
No. I heard the story.
Oh, you heard about it. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
not too sure.
No, but it's nice to explain. It's really good explain. You got really good knowledge.
Yeah.
I try my best.
No, thank you. How is the family? Good?
Yeah, they are good. Thank you so much.
Yes, good.
Your family are well too.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, they're good as well. Thank you. Really good. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Well done. Okay. So what should we do?